Innovators bring new ideas to the world. Entrepreneurs, they take these innovations and they bring them to market as either for-profit businesses or nonprofit entities. But it's the pioneering entrepreneurs, that prove that something can work inside of a community and an explosion follows behind them. The cities and communities that welcome and support these pioneers benefit greatly. And our host city today of San Antonio, Texas, is a prime example. The locals of San Antonio call it a city on the rise, and indeed it is. Our history, population, and vision embrace new ideas and innovation. It's a melting pot of artists and technologists, military and industry, favored by tourists and historians. And this city has a rich history built by pioneers. The Spanish that settled here named the area after St. Anthony, and about 300 years ago, they began building missions, and the seeds of our city were planted. Later, in the 1800s, impresarios were created to help spur growth and colonization in what is now the state of Texas. These impresarios, they were granted land in exchange for recruiting settlers and curating good communities. Our city flourished because of their vision, and we commemorate them throughout our community. Impresarios like Lorenzo de Zavala, Henry Castro, Stephen F. Austin. These leaders embraced growth and change. They were some of the early pioneers that helped create the momentum to build the cities that we know today. I think that modern entrepreneurs can learn a lot from these impresarios about how building communities and building businesses have so much in common. Our modern cities rely and depend on innovation and new ideas for growth and vitality. And the modern impresario can be seen working on a startup, creating a company, opening a restaurant, and taking risks in effort to build communities that they want to live in. Now, comparing modern entrepreneurs to pioneers from 2 centuries ago may seem like a stretch. I mean, certainly there's a metaphorical connection, right? There's forging new territory and attracting followers and influencing growth. But I think there's a stronger connection between the pioneers of then and now. In fact, there's a literal connection. See, for those of you that aren't aware, impresario is a Spanish word, and in English it means entrepreneur. San Antonio continued to embrace new ideas as it grew. The following decades and centuries saw our city expand, pioneering new territory, building new industry, and creating a brighter future for its residents. The 20th century was especially influential in crafting the city that we know today. San Antonio, our city on the rise, has a rapidly expanding technology scene today, thanks to organizations like Geekdom and TechBlock. But the seeds to that tech scene were actually planted almost 50 years ago, when a pair of visionaries decided to explore new frontiers. In 1968, a couple of engineers created a company called DataPoint in San Antonio, Texas. They had invented something called a computer terminal. It was this device that was designed to replace teletype machines. DataPoint was very influential in working with another startup of that time named Intel, and they created the microprocessor, changing the course of mankind. San Antonio benefited greatly from DataPoint's success, and those roots in that tech scene, they were firmly planted. A generation later, in the late 90s, another group of pioneers, hailing from Trinity University, decided to open a hosting company, and Rackspace was born. Behind them, a wave of hosting providers sprung up across our community, and we all benefited. We benefited economically from the growth. New jobs meant new housing, more patrons for our museums, and more commerce in our shops. We benefited by attracting talent to our community. Instead of experiencing brain drain, we began to experience brain gain. Engineers and technologists, They moved their family to our city, and they joined our communities. New businesses opened to provide products and services to support those growing needs. Pioneering is in our blood. It's what our city, our community, and our neighborhoods are built on. San Antonio has a rich history and a vibrant heritage, but so does every other city across our country and around the globe. While we all have different origins, we all share that common theme. Every country, every city, every town has origin stories that begin with pioneers discovering, settling, and building the beginnings of our modern lives. We all benefit from the pioneers that came before us, and we all stand on their shoulders. Our world continues to grow through the spirit of these trailblazers. Now remember, a pioneer isn't the first person to bring an idea to the world. That's an innovator. They aren't necessarily the first to bring it to market either, but they're the first to demonstrate the viability of an idea inside of a community. In any city in the world, you can see their influence. Whatever your city you're in right now as you watch this, you can see their marks all around you. And of our host city today of San Antonio, Texas, their influence can be seen everywhere we look. 5 years ago, Geekdom opened a collaborative co-working location in downtown San Antonio. Now, Geekdom didn't invent co-working, and they weren't the first to bring it to market either. But they were the first to prove that San Antonio was ready and that co-working could work here. Now, we have several options for co-working all over town, and that is the secret. That's how you know that a pioneer found a good fit for a community. Competition follows. It brings us more options, and we all benefit. This year, Symmetry 50 named Geekdom the third best co-working location in the country. Maverick Music Festival brought us a live event spectacular that was common elsewhere, but it was new here. Chef Andrew Weissman proved that San Antonio was ready for world-class food. His restaurants revolutionized the culinary scene, and we all benefited. Local coffee opened the door to hip coffee house experiences, and now we see coffee shops popping up all over town, and we all benefit from that growth. Chimera, Codeup, and countless other ventures brought new concepts to our city, and each were followed by others with similar visions, and we all benefited. If we want to continue to benefit from the growth and change inherent with new ventures, then we must learn to empower and emulate the sense of adventure and exploration that comes with these pioneers. So, how do we support our local pioneer? Well, that's easy. You just have to try something new. Right? Whenever a new restaurant opens near your neighborhood, go check it out. Go take a yoga class at your local co-working location. Buy a snack from a micro-market startup. Choose to shop at a local small business. But more importantly, how can we grow these pioneers from within our communities? Well, have you ever been in another city and said, wow, I wish we had that too? That's the perfect opportunity to plant the seeds of change. How can you bring that experience back with you to your community? It doesn't have to be you that actually does the thing, but you can plant the seeds and you can inspire others. You can lend your support. You can ask your friends and families and coworkers to bring their great ideas back to your community, and you can help your local leaders craft policies that enable entrepreneurs and startups to bring their new ideas to market. You can start with something small. Teach that yoga class at your local community center. Offer to volunteer at a nonprofit organization. Mentor that new business owner. But most importantly, encourage everybody you know to embrace growth and change and progress, because it's the only way that together We can pioneer a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. Ask them and ask yourselves, how can we help you bring your great ideas to our community and have you join the ranks of pioneers that make all of our lives better?